London, England. Its history stretches back 2 millennia, and the
Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the world.
city remains. It's a 21st century.
It's a 21st century, tragically empty library of bullshit. Can you see the other fellow's point of view when you wish to? Why, yes, old chap, I certainly can. Put myself in the other fellow's shoes if needs must. Hello, lovely people. My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. Scientology. Seems like a good time to talk about Scientology. It's back in the news again for a very exciting reason. Leah Remini, former celebrity Scientologist, turned activist, seeking to expose the church. She's worked with Mike Grinder on a TV show and a podcast all about it, as well as other activist work. They're really, really good. I recommend watching them if you haven't. The TV show, very emotional, but it's really, really good and worth watching. She is suing the Church of Scientology and David Miscavige, which is, so brave. I've always thought she's so incredibly brave, knowing what she knows about the tactics that Scientology use against people, specifically against people that speak out against them, and continuing to do so, and even suing them. Ooh, it's exciting. I'm hoping, I have two hopes. One, that something will actually happen, because Scientology has been hiding behind the curtain of religious freedom since its inception in order to get away with basically anything. Not only is it the insane, very culty invention of a delusional science fiction author, and an enormous waste of money for the people that partake, but within the central organisation, the abuses they've hidden using the power of being a religious entity is just disgusting. So it would be so, so good for David Miscavige specifically as well. It would do a lot for the leader to actually face some punishment. So my hope is that something happens. My other hope is that because what she's suing for, like, let's double check what the law case specifically is, so I get this right. Harassment, defamation, surveillance, and other unlawful behaviour resulting in psychological torture. So my hope is that because she's literally suing them for their harassment techniques, to me it seems like it would be crazy for them to employ their normal harassment techniques, because usually if somebody says anything about them, if somebody tries to take legal action against them, they employ all these harassment techniques. They try to defame them, etc. Everything that has happened to Leah Remini. And there's plenty of evidence that has happened to her, and I assume, again, knowing what she knows, knowing how they have avoided legal recompense so much so far, and even social backlash, I still don't understand how everyone is fine with Tom Cruise just being a huge celebrity and being like, oh, cool, or he does a cool thing in this movie. How are we okay with that? I don't get it. Anyway, my hope is that knowing what she knows, and hopefully having the legal backing that understands how Scientology works, she'll have like a really, really strong case. That's my hope, that's my wish. I'm nervous for her and really excited for her. I think it will be a bit of a blow and depressing for all of us if nothing comes of it, but keep fighting, right? What can we do? If you're new here, by the way, and you haven't seen my interview with Mike Grinder, you should definitely check that out for all of the sad but hopeful, horrific insights into the central organisation of Scientology under Hubbard and then David Miscavige. Check it out. I had sort of pinned this to my future to-do list to talk about, and then I thought with Leah Remini suing the church and David Miscavige, I thought this would be a good opportunity to dive in to Scientology London, Scientology UK. Scientology has a few churches here. Not a lot of people know that. You got churches in Manchester, Birmingham, I think. There's a few. And I had a look a while ago at their Instagram and found it very, very funny and quite sad. And I thought that would be fun to look at. And then I thought, why not take the infamous Oxford Communications, their bullshit personality test, using a fake email address, because God knows. So that's what we're going to do today. I think it'll be a little bit of fun. It's very hot. If you can hear my fan in the background, I apologise. I'll do my best to get rid of the noise. It's the hottest it's been all year. I am, as you can see and tell, a very pale little English person. We don't have the infrastructure, and I don't have the prepared body to cope with the heat, so Sweaty Emma is back I have tissue for dabbing. This is right. So if you are also a sweaty bean, here's a quick free tip for you that I got from an acting friend of mine. Split a little bit of toilet paper in half. It's perfect for dabbing. Summer tips with Sweaty Emma. Why is England a big deal or a deal at all in Scientology? Well, number one, the more churches they have all over the world, the more they can say, we have churches and followers all over the world. Duh. Number two, as I understand it, they enjoy owning... Enjoy. That's probably the wrong word. It's a bit of an emotional term. They have a lot of real estate. They like to have a lot of real estate. It's just a way to sort of keep capital. They like to have... The Church of Scientology specifically keeps a lot of money around and real estate and stuff for the... Forgive the use of the term, I can't think of another way of putting it, second coming of L. Ron Hubbard. Allegedly, at least up to some years ago, cleaners were still preparing his room for him every day, L. Ron Hubbard's room. His cars were being kept in running order. His home is prepared for him to return. Despite, on his deathbed, being very clear that he was fucking off and not coming back. Such a fascinating story. Do go and watch that Mike Rinder video. Not just trying to plug myself, but a little bit, because... Please. Help. Really fascinating insight into Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard. Okay, so first things first, the Scientology London website. Too much going on. I am immediately overstimulated. There's so much happening on different angles of the screen. There's a pop-up for the personality test. The personality test is in the middle of the screen. Let's have a quick look at the video inside our London church, shall we? Just so you can see. So Scientology London, let me just grab my headphones. Scientology London church, it's very central. It's in a very affluent area of central London, a very touristy area as well. It's always, in my experience, it's always fucking empty. And we'll come back to that in a little bit.
London, England. Its history stretches back 2 millennia. And the
Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the world.
city remains the centre of the English-speaking world.
I'm sorry, Rule Britannia as the background is so fucking funny.
And it's here, along the famed Tottenham Court Road, stands London's Dianetics and Scientology Life Improvement Centre. All 5 stories are devoted to providing a full introduction to both Dianetics and Scientology.
I wonder when this video was produced. It's very low res. That might just be a restriction of the website, I don't know. It just looks old, but part of what I think Scientology does, especially, I don't know, I'm more familiar with Scientology in the UK, I guess, so I don't know for sure, but it always feels like it's trying to be a bit more proper and legitimate by seeming older. Like, it's all this, knightly, ye old fonts, and I don't know, it's just weird.
To that end, this centre hosts a public information exhibit covering every fundamental belief and practice.
Well, does it? I guess their way of getting away with that is every fundamental belief and practice, because we know for a fact that the core beliefs, the extreme foundations of the religion, all the fucking alien shit with other planets and the bombs in volcanoes, that is hidden from the general public and the average Scientology member. I need to turn my microphone volume down a little bit, because otherwise when I laugh or sing Rule Britannia, it's going to peak, and you don't want that.
The centre on Tottenham Court Road also offers basic Scientology courses, and if that's providing an introduction to the religion, there's still London's main church. The building rises 6 stories and dates from the height of the Victorian era. But today, it's a 21st century ideal
It's a 21st century, tragically empty library of bullshit. That's what Scientology London is. Look at it. It's too big and posh for it not to be so noticeable that it's always deserted.
Scientology organisation in every regard. Visitors are welcome at any time, whether just passing by on Queen Victoria Street or attending daily open houses and community events held all year.
This is my incredulousness is going to become clear as soon as we look at their Instagram and talk about the centre. Daily events and community stuff? No. Maybe when this video was produced, maybe they did 3 days of stuff in a row so they could say that for the video. It is not a hub of activity.
Year long. Here one also finds a complete public information centre with hundreds of video presentations furnishing the answer to the question, what is Scientology? To accommodate the varied needs of those who live and work in this city, all introductory church services are offered on both a day and
look at the life
evening
improvement
schedule.
course room. Being in there, touching that bowl, I can feel my life improving already.
That very much includes the full roster of life improvement courses, addressing everything from effective time management to...
So let's just take a second, shall we? Because this is kind of important, I feel. This is sort of core to a lot of the Scientology stuff. And when we look at the Instagram in a minute, this is all gonna become sort of clearly full circle. So Scientology has the big mainstream stuff that we know about, right? Where people pay ludicrous amounts of money to go through these insanely expensive courses, get all the books, etc. That is not the average person's experience of Scientology. The average person's experience of Scientology / most people's entry into Scientology, unless you're a celebrity, is via these small short courses. They're more affordable, still way overpriced. They're sort of generic. There's this crossover, right, between religious cults and wellness cults, where there's sort of a baseline of common sense advice, right? And this is why people find it helpful, why people get sucked in, why seemingly intelligent and not seemingly, the most likely person to be drawn into a cult is intelligent, friendly. The reason is because of these short courses they'll do everything from, life improvement, time management, being a better leader, lots of business themed classes, lots of stuff like this, where if you had never heard of Scientology, you just walked past the building and seen a poster for business improvement classes, how to be a better leader, etc. It's a beautiful building, all these shiny books, it looks so well put together, and there's a really friendly person on reception telling you about these classes and how much they've helped their life. Yeah, of course. It's perfectly reasonable for the average person who didn't know any better to do some basic Scientology courses and get something out of them. And be like, why is there so much negativity? I'm so surprised. Just putting that out there. This is their sort of this doesn't really do, as far as I understand, this doesn't really do the money for them. That's why they need people to go through the program into the, leveling up their whatever the fuck, midichlorians or, whatever it is, the accessing their higher selves, whatever the fuck. That's what they need financially, but their sort of bread and butter daily activity that is their surface level, non-harmful stuff that they can share with the public and be proud of is just bullshit wellness courses, being a better leader, all that stuff. That is to say, you could come across somebody who's done a couple of Scientology courses and they could be a perfectly normal person, not remotely in this cult. You understand what I'm getting at here.
The Church's Academy trains the counsellors for the whole of Greater London. And as the basics of counselling, known as auditing, are fundamental to understanding life itself.
Bold choice to call auditing counselling. Again, if you don't know what auditing is, check out my video with Mike. It's the last time I'm going to mention it, I promise. Unless it becomes relevant
Training
again.
is integral to the spiritual progress of every Scientologist. Then again, to accommodate the continually growing church membership, this church...
Continually growing church membership, and then it's just videos and videos of empty rooms.
Church provides Sunday services as well as the entire range of Scientology religious ceremonies.
I wonder if they do that every week, because there can't be a regular congregation. If there is a congregation, it's going to be 2 people. Because again, the kind of people that are actually going there are doing these short courses in business and stuff. And again, I've followed them through the Instagram rabbit hole. They're just trying to be entrepreneurs and stuff like that. That's what they're doing. They're not going to the Sunday church services to worship L. Ron Hubbard.
And that's Scientology in the heart of London. The Dianetics and Scientology Life Improvement Centre and the Church of Scientology of London.
Don't you want to visit now? Wasn't that exciting? I can't believe that opened with Royal Britannia. Scientology loves these flashy videos. This is super common. Again, you'll see this if you watch Leah Remini's show with Mike. Their flashy conferences and videos about their charities and their charitable works. So funny. Speaking of their charitable works, I love this on the website. News from our London church. Latest news is from Easter. How we help. Easter egg hunt. Is there a conflict there? Because Easter is a Christian celebration, and I would find it very weird for a Christian to also be a Scientologist. I'm sure someone, because it's a cult, and you can kind of convince yourself and others of anything when you're really in a cult, I'm sure someone could find a way to justify that, but that sounds weird to me. Oh, I had so much relief after my first auditing session, it blew my mind. No. Look at all these UK Scientologists. There's so many of them. There's like 10 of them. Wow. Wait. Nick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of them. There's at least 6 UK Scientologists. Wow. Look, every day you could book a personal efficiency course. They're showing the film The Story of Dianetics, which will be all about how L. Ron Hubbard is so amazing. He's published all these books. He's so wonderful. This is how he came up with Dianetics, which I'm assuming will not be accurate. Free tour of the Public Information Centre. Free personality test. So why is London even a thing, right? Why is it such a big thing? Why do they love London? Did you know, my friends, did you know? We have a great claim to Scientology here, and Scientology history. Hubbard actually established, let me check what it's called so I don't get it wrong. Hubbard established the Dianetic Foundation of Great Britain in 1952. Hubbard himself lived and worked out of Fitzrovia, which is a very, very posh part of central London. And in fact, here I can show you Fitzroy House, the house where Hubbard himself lived and worked, which Scientology bought back. I don't know at what point it changed hands in between them buying it back, but they bought it and turned it into a Hubbard museum, which you can visit for free by appointment. If I'm going to go anywhere Scientology related and give them my real face and a legitimate email address, I'm going to need a lot of likes on this video. If you would like me to try and book a visit to Fitzroy House and see if they'll let me film there, please like and subscribe. Also, just do it anyway because I'm so nice and I'm so hot, but I'm still here. I'm working hard. I'm such a hard grafting bean. Do it for Scientology London. We could make a day of it. I'll go to the Scientology Information Centre. I'll go to L. Ron Hubbard's house. So yeah, he has this. He's dead. Stop acting like he's going to come back. He's not actually going to come back. He failed with this planet and he's fucked off elsewhere. He's not coming back. So let's try and get that into our heads. So yeah, they've made his house into a little creepy fucking museum memorial to him. It's got little creepy pictures of him on the walls. It's all very spooky. It's got his books everywhere. Is that a bust of L. Ron Hubbard? That's horrifying. I love the way it describes him here, the way he's described in Scientology. Writer and philosopher, L. Ron Hubbard. I guess technically. And then a bit about how he's one of the most prolific writers of his time. Which doesn't mean good. Doesn't mean good, it doesn't mean helpful. Just means he wrote a lot of stuff. So, yeah, so we've got a museum to him where he used to live. He started this Dianetics organization in the UK. And we have these Scientology churches in the UK, including this, oh, Britannia. Including the London one, the Information Centre. Yeah, I just thought I'd share with you the Instagram because I did find it so funny, and there is no better indicator that there is nothing fucking going on here. There is nobody visiting. I read an article, I'll try and find it for you and put it in the description, about somebody who visited and talked about how deserted it was and how deserted it always is. I like this as well. The start of the description. Stressed, anxious, and uncertain? Like fucking, yeah, everyone. Everybody at some point is stressed, anxious, and uncertain. Luckily, Scientology is here to save the day. I like that it's just a link to the book of Dianetics, which I think is not a smart place to start. I think you want to link either the personality test or one of the basic life improvement courses. You got to ease people in. You can't just show strangers Dianetics and hope that they're going to buy it, because maybe one day, if I can get a copy secondhand somewhere, so I don't want any money to go to the Church of Scientology, if I can find a secondhand copy, maybe we'll look at Dianetics at some point. It's even got a picture of the volcano on the front cover. So here's something that I think is interesting. Nothing has changed since the last time I looked at this, like months ago. The very last post, 32 weeks ago. And it's these two people. I'll cover this. You can see this chap's name on the thing. I'm gonna cover it because it's not their fault that this is Scientology, and I don't want them to face any harassment. But because some of their names show, like I say, I have visited some of their personal profiles, and they are all very entrepreneurial. They're all basically everyone I could find was like some young entrepreneur trying to be a business person. So that seems to be the main people they attract. This is so badly written as well. These two volunteers recently finished a course in Scientology communication course. It's a communication course and it's written that badly. Nobody could have checked that. They know that, like, there are like 5 people on there following on their Instagram. Bizarre. So yeah, nothing for 32 weeks. And then you've got this Christmas party from all the volunteers. Here's another Dianetics, New Era Dianetics case completion. We're going to talk about this next week when we look at another cult. A cult following a man who claims to be Jesus Christ. Absolutely love cults and cult-like organizations. Absolutely love using their own language. It's very like insider versus outsider. To the outside observer, it doesn't really make any sense. You can't be that worried about the things they say because you don't understand them. Using their own language, and in L. Ron Hubbard's case, very science-y, themed, made-up words. It's like a huge thing for them. The people we have helped. Oh, look, here are some of them. Look here. And then in that GIF, and then here, that's already, of the last 4 posts, one of those people has been in every single one. As soon as you start scrolling through, you see, here's one and here's them again, you start to notice it's the same people over and over again. There are not that many people visiting the Scientology Center. Some of them are doing little courses, and most of them are doing little courses. Some of them are buying the books. Here's this person again. You're seeing the same faces. There's probably about 10, 12, and then it's just the same people over and over again. And this is all months and months old, months and months apart. Like, if there were daily events, if there were people going to church services every Sunday, they could, and because it's Scientology, I suspect would post more than once every 32 weeks. So I just thought that was kind of funny. The fact that it's just people doing these little short bullshit courses, it's people who work there, it's the same people over and over again. We can take solace in the fact that there is not much going on and not a lot of foot traffic in the Church of Scientology London. I'm hoping it's the same elsewhere in the UK. I would assume so. I don't know. If you in Manchester or Birmingham or anywhere where there's a Scientology church, let me know what the foot traffic is like. So linked all across the Scientology websites and resources is this absolutely classic Get to Know the Real You personality test, which is a strange way to advertise it. So it's called, this is it, the Oxford Capacity Analysis. I like that it just says you in massive fucking letters. You are a great individual with your own personality traits. Some of these traits enable you to achieve great things in life, and others can hold you back and ultimately stifle your true potential. Your personality determines your future success and happiness. I guess if they mean personality in a very broad sense there. I was going to say, in terms of personality, I know some very successful assholes. You know what I mean? And I'm doing relatively well as a real silly little fucking idiot, so I don't think it's actually everything. The Oxford Capacity Analysis has benefited millions of people since 1960. It is the only test that delivers measurable, accurate analysis followed by one-on-one consultation with practical recommendations tailored to your needs based on your results. The Oxford Capacity Analysis results will reveal your opinion of you. In case you don't know what you actually think of you, this test will tell you. Find your problem areas. It sounds like any other personality test. These things are all bullshit. There's no real foundation. It's like a bit like doing an online IQ test. It doesn't mean anything. Most of these things are to massage your ego just enough whilst giving you things to work on that Scientology can help. Now, something that I thought was very funny watching Leah Remini's show was when they talked about the personality test, the initial tests, they all talked about how they had got basically the exact same results, which I think is so funny. Oh, good typing, me. I don't know why, we don't have a justification for why they've called it the Oxford Capacity Analysis Test. We assume it's to imply a link between Oxford University and Scientology, because Oxford University is very prestigious here, and globally, there is no link. Oxford University has nothing to do with this and would like to make that very clear. It is not a scientifically recognised test and has been criticised by numerous psychology organisations who point out that it is not a genuine personality test, and Scientology recruiters use it in a highly manipulative and unethical fashion. So it's primarily used for recruitment purposes. They used to, but before it was all internet, they might still do this, but they used to primarily sort of hang out on the street, and they would do this at the centre in London as well. They would sort of hang out on the street and offer personality tests to people wandering past. Now you can easily do them online and everywhere. A more detailed investigation was undertaken in 1970 by the British Psychological Society. The group's conclusions. Taking the procedure as a whole, one is forced to the conclusion that the Oxford Capacity Analysis is not a genuine personality test. Certainly the results as presented bear no relation to any known methods of assessing personality or scaling test scores. It's unrelated to any method of assessing anything by anyone else ever. It's just made up. It's just L. Ron Hubbard bullshit. The Oxford Capacity Analysis consists to a high degree of unclearly formulated, ambiguous or misleading questions. Partly incoherent or openly judgmental, as a whole, diffuse. Completely unreliable. It's the interpretations that are bogus. They're drawing arbitrary conclusions that simply aren't warranted. Yeah, bullshit. Pretty much bullshit. Alright, let's go. What is your first name? My first name is Gregson. My postal code is 6. My phone number is also 6. Would you give up easily on a given course if it were causing you a considerable amount of inconvenience? Maybe? Do you wax enthusiastic about only a few subjects? I wax enthusiastic about a lot of things, I think. Do you rarely suspect the actions of others? Does that mean, am I rarely suspicious of other people? Do you sometimes wonder if anyone really cares about you? Are you depressed? Come to Scientology. Do you sometimes feel compelled to repeat some interesting item or tidbit? Who doesn't? This should be like a Blade Runner thing, where it's like, trying to determine if we're actually human or not. Do you tend to exaggerate a justifiable grievance? I don't think so. Is your facial expression varied rather than set? Let me know in the comments. Would you consider yourself energetic in your attitude towards life? I mean, I'm an EP bean. I'm very sleepy, but my attitude towards life, I think, is quite energetic. Would a disagreement affect your general relationship with another person? I mean, yeah, maybe. It depends on what the disagreement is. Does a minor failure on your part rarely trouble you? Some of these are so backwardsy. They're like so wishy-washy back to front. Do you sometimes feel that you talk too much? No, but the YouTube audience sometimes says otherwise. Do you smile much? Yeah. Are you easily pleased? So easily pleased. When met with direct opposition, would you still seek to have your own way rather than give in? It depends! Did you know the graph will highlight this? Oh, I don't care. Provided the distance were not too great, would you prefer to ride rather than walk? Does that mean like drive or ride a bicycle or get public transport? Again, it depends. At the moment, it's fucking hot, so... Do you ever get disturbed by the noise of the wind or a house settling down? Sure, sometimes in the middle of the night it sounds a bit like a ghost. That happens. Do you often make tactless blunders? Yes, sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. I am a human being. Are you suspicious of people who ask to borrow money from you? No one's ever asked to borrow money from me. Can you get quite enthusiastic over some simple little thing? Yes. For example, here is a banana. Here is a banana toy that I have. And look, it opens up to reveal banana, and then look. It's not supposed to sound quite like that, but isn't that amazing? And I've been fawning over that for a while, so I'm going to say yes. Do you frequently take action even though you know your own good judgment would indicate otherwise? Like sometimes have a few too many cocktails? Yes, sometimes. Are you in favour of colour, bar and class distinction? I'm just going to type this phrase into Google and see what it means. A social system in which black and other non-white people are denied access to the same rights. No, you'd have to be very fucking honest, a really, really honest racist to answer yes to this question. Do some noises set your teeth on edge? Yes! Can you see the other fellow's point of view when you wish to? Why, yes, old chap, I certainly can put myself in the other fellow's shoes if needs must. Do the petty foibles of others make you impatient? They can. The petty foibles of others can make me impatient if I'm being honest. Do children irritate you? Again, sometimes. Sometimes when they're being irritating. Sometimes they're really cute. When recounting some amusing incident, why does this sound like it was written by an old English gent? Can you easily imitate the mannerisms or the dialect in the original incident? Yes. At least I think so. Do you have a tendency to tidy up a disorder of somebody else's household? No. Are you ever ill at ease in the company of children? I'm ill at ease in the company of people. Do you work in spurts, being relatively inactive and then furiously active? Yeah, that's me, baby. Do you laugh or smile quite readily? We've had this question already. Are you definite and emphatic in voice and manner? Gregson, this is the final stretch. Would you take the necessary actions to kill an animal in order to put it out of pain? Oh.
You look down and you see a tortoise, Leon.
If an animal was suffering and nobody else could do it, I think I could. Is it easy for you to relax? Do you have little regret on past misfortunes and failures? Does the idea of fear or apprehension give you a physical reaction? Yeah, that's called acting, bitch. Do you find it hard to get started on a task that needs to be done? Yes. Are you opposed to the probation system for criminals? Probation is when you serve a court sentence in the community. Oh no, I'm for that. I'm not opposed to that. Do you spend too freely in relation to your income? Do you make allowances for your friends where others might judge more severely? Again, I think everybody does that. I think that's part of the point of having friends. Do you often ponder over your own inferiority? No, fortunately not. I'm exhausted. This is long. This is 200 questions of long. Do you often find yourself going off in all directions at once? Yeah. Having settled an argument out, do you continue to feel disgruntled for a while? It depends on the argument. Again, if it's about, like, something really important, like human rights or something like that, I'm gonna feel disgruntled for a while. If it's like, which is the best Power Ranger? The Yellow Ranger, obviously. Are you friendly in voice, attitude, and expression? I think so. Sometimes I have resting toad face. Do you do much grumbling about conditions you have to face in life? I grumble. I'm English. It's my prerogative. We fucking did it! Look, I can confirm my appointment at the Church of Scientology, Plymouth. Is that because I put my postcode as 6? Congratulations, Gregson. Unacceptable state, desirable state, normal. I've got some unacceptables. I can't believe it. Below broken line, attention urgent. Look, I've got 5 urgent sections. So this is pretty much what I expect. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, it looks like basically everybody has the same shape as me, which is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I talked about the Leah Remini's show and then talking about getting basically the same responses every time. Well, I'm not going to the Church of Scientology Plymouth. Look, even this is their demonstration graph. Marked improvement in their personality graph and IQ score. Why not improve another bullshit test result? Even their example is like the same shape. Like every human being has the same strengths and weaknesses according to Scientology. I wouldn't trust Scientology to determine what my weaknesses are. Well, that's fun. Like here's somebody asking for their graph to be deciphered, and it's like exactly the same. The funny thing is that a lot of the replies here, because people are asking what the columns are so they can presumably work out their scores without having to go to the Scientology Center. Yeah, no axis labels. What a fantastically terrible graph. And it's a lot of people being like, I genuinely don't remember, and I don't think it was important what the columns were when I was analyzing these tests. Oh, look, there's a manual, a 1955 manual for reading the Oxford Capacity Analysis Test. Fucking hell, it's complicated. That's hilarious. I'll link to that down below in case you want to read about how, what the manual was that they would have been given in 1955. The fact that it says urgent irks me a little bit because that, You know, if you are reading this, and again, a lot of the questions are misleadingly phrased to kind of make you think, oh shit, is something wrong with me? And then you read this and you're like, oh shit, attention urgent. Okay, well, I'm okay in these areas, but oh my god, there's like something really wrong with me in like 5 areas of my personality that's holding me back in life. Go to the Scientology Center instead of talking to a therapist or talking to your friends and realizing that a lot of the problems with you are just being a human being and experiencing regular human emotions. There you go, that's all I can stomach for now. Do let me know your thoughts down below. Continue supporting Leah Remini and everyone who speaks out against Scientology. Got all our fingers crossed for this lawsuit. I am so hopeful and anxious. I would love something to change. At the very least, wouldn't it be great for her to get some recompense for everything she's endured for the sake of helping people who have been victims of Scientology? So, fingers crossed for Leah Remini and this court case. What a fascinating and weird world Scientology is. Yeah, maybe at some point I'll try and grab a copy of Dianetics. I'm sure that they made so many, and they gave so many to libraries and shit. I'm sure there will be some secondhand copies online somewhere. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'll try and fucking decipher it. Next week we will be talking about a different cult, and I'll be reviewing a documentary about a cult that I hated. So if you're interested in that, please do consider subscribing so you don't miss it. If you do like what I do here, the best way to support this channel and help me make more cool, groovy stuff is via the Patreon. You get some exclusive videos. Lately, while I've been doing my musical theatre course, I've been posting some little bits of singing practice of musicals on there. I'm not saying they're good, but they might make you feel better about your own skills and hobbies. We get some posts, I put merch discounts up there, all different things. You can go and check it out if you like. You can also become a channel member right here. If you become a channel member, I will give you comment priority, aka I will never miss your comments. You will be the first ones that I'll check, and I'll make sure that I get them all, and you also get some very silly emotes. I'd be ever so grateful if you consider checking out my other channels. There is Emma Thorne Backstage, where we do more vloggy life stuff. I've still not done my Polaroid adventure yet because it's been so hot that I don't want to travel around London on the tube with a tripod and a camera and everything, but soon. If you like gaming content, you can follow me at Little Duck Gaming, where I play lots of silly little video games. You can find my Twitch best moments over there. And then if you want to catch me live, you can follow me over on Twitch at Emma Little Duck. We have a lot of good fun. You can say hi, you can watch me be bad at video games. Before we go, I must give a big old thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Thank you so very much for watching. Most importantly, have yourself a lovely week, and I will see you really soon.